Hi, thanks for stopping by today. Today is February 10th, which means it is reveal day over at Elle's studio. And so today I am using some goodies from the February kit being released today, along with some extras, and I am going to create a little spread talking about my favorite moments in January. So for this spread, I started out with an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. And what I did is I used a circle punch and I punched out various papers from the kit this month. So from those journaling tags that come in the kit every month, I punched some 2-inch circles out of a few of those cards, and also from a few pattern papers from the Sunny Days collection, which is one of the collections over at Elle Studio. And I love the Sunny Days collection with 4 boys. It definitely is a collection that gets a lot of use in our home. I also punched that center card, the turquoise one. That one is from the Love You journaling tags, which is a set of journaling tags that are just love themed that you can use for Valentine's Day, or like this, to just tell a story about some moments that you love or some people that you love. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a Valentine's theme layout, because there's definitely things and people that we love that we like to document. So back to the spread here. So those 2 strips on the very bottom, one thing that I absolutely adore about the Elle Studio 12 by 12 pattern paper is that they all have these branding strips, and on the branding strips it includes different designs. So I love that because I use a ton of those. There are so many ways to use those branding strips. So remember, whenever you are cutting your 12 by 12 paper, to keep those in your stash so you can use them for layouts or other things. I have a few ideas for a few other spreads that I want to put together just using branding strips to show you how versatile those pieces are in your stash. So on this spread, I took 2 of those branding strips and I trimmed them down a little bit, and they are going to go on the very bottom of my spread, and that is just going to pull some of the color from the top circles down to the very bottom. And I made sure that I had colors that coordinate with that strip on the very bottom, and I had coordinating pattern papers throughout those circles that I punched out at the very top. So in this spread, I'm definitely going for a grid type of layout, doing 3 across of those circles. Now here I wanted to add my journaling at the very bottom. So that is the Jonah stamp set, and I love that stamp set. Just a nice clean stamp set, very versatile to use on really any of your projects. So here I'm using a T-square ruler, and I'm finding the very center of my spread. Now why I'm doing this is because I want to make sure that I have an odd number of stamped plus signs, and what I'm going to do is where these little plus signs are, that's where I'm going to add in my journaling. And as you can see, I haven't adhered anything down to the spread. In just a minute you'll see why I didn't adhere anything down yet, because I'm actually going to take that piece of cardstock and run it through to add my journaling in Photoshop. So I found the center of my spread with that ruler, and I'm going to alternate where I'm putting those plus signs on either side to make sure that I have them varied all around, and that I also have enough room to add in my journaling by each plus sign. So here I'm just kind of counting out, okay, I have 4, and I definitely want to add 1 more because I like to do things in odd numbers. So I'm adding just another plus sign, and then I'm going to go ahead and clean off that stamp. So I just want to say that that Lawn Fawn stamp chamois, I just got it in January, and it is like my new favorite thing. I love that thing so stinking much. I was cleaning all my stamps with baby wipes, and it always left the little lint on the bottom, and that stamp chamois works so well, just completely cleans off the stamp, and then I'm all ready to put it away. So I love that. Okay, so here I'm going to take everything off my spread, and I'm going to take that cardstock base, and what I did is I scanned it into my computer and I added my journaling. So because I didn't want, so I had a few different options. I could have, after I scanned it back in, then run that same piece of cardstock through my computer, but I was so afraid that what if it didn't match up perfectly? So I knew that this was pretty darn close to where I wanted it. So I just decided to run it on a new piece of white cardstock, and then I would just take my stamp, that little plus sign, and re-stamp all the plus signs right next to the journaling. That way I could just make sure that everything was lined up perfectly, and I really didn't have to worry about the journaling running over the previously stamped plus signs. So now I'm ready to start adhering all the little pieces down to my spread. And sorry, I'm a little out of frame here, but what I'm doing is I'm sliding that star strip right underneath the striped pattern paper. So I just wanted a little bit of the star pattern paper peeking out, and so I just had to pull up a little bit of that paper and tuck it in, and then make sure that it was even. What I did is I did make sure that it hung over the edges just a little bit, so then when I'm finished with my spread, I can flip the spread over and just trim off the edges. That way, for some reason, no matter how many times I measure out pattern paper to fit my spreads, it always ends up not being perfect. So this way it ends up being totally perfect by when I just leave it a little bit long and then trim off the excess. Sorry about the camera going in and out there. I just had put it on autofocus and I forgot to change it back to manual focus. So hopefully you're still with me and you're not too dizzy after that. Okay, so now I am ready to start adhering the circles down to my pattern paper. So I did do the stamping again, stamped all my plus signs next to my journaling, and those journaling pieces, all they're really doing is talking about some of my favorite moments in January. So a few of them are, some of the journaling says, Duke, which is one of my sons, started a new season of basketball. We love how confident and brave he is this year. And another one is Ryder. That is another one of my sons. If you're new to my channel, I have four boys, and they are 9, 7, 5, and 3. So we are a very busy family, but it's fun, and I love that I get to document all these fun moments with them. So another one is Ryder got his own bike, and he is working on gliding so he can get pedals on his bike. He wants to ride all the time, even in the house. And that is definitely true. He's 3 and he likes to take his little bike into the house, and he tries to sneak it in and then ride around the house. So I definitely wanted to document that little memory. So here I am back to the spread. I am adhering down those circles, and I used my T-square ruler here, and I forgot that I have another ruler that has grid marks on it, which I actually prefer a lot better because I don't have to do as much measuring because I can see the grids right on the ruler. So it makes it a lot easier because I'm not having to do any math in my head or make sure that it's balanced in the center, which I would have to do with the T-square ruler, but at least I know the ruler's completely straight because it has that T. So I guess it really doesn't matter, but for grid layouts, I definitely try to measure things out to make sure it's as close to perfect as I can get it, just because that is the whole idea of having a grid style layout, is to have clean lines and to make sure that everything is balanced. So on this spread, what I did is on the pattern papers, I went ahead and adhered those just with my rolling adhesive, and then I popped up all the photos with some dimensional adhesive, so some foam squares. I have just a few foam squares left in my stash. I've pretty much switched over to just using the fun foam, which I definitely prefer because you don't have any sinking of your photos or your embellishments in the center, which sometimes you have with the foam squares. So I definitely prefer the fun foam, but I think I am almost out of white fun foam, and I was afraid that it might show because I have a white background. So I used the Tombow adhesive. The red one is a super strong one, and that one I used to adhere down the acrylic piece, but it was getting a little gummy, so I switched over just to my traditional rolling adhesive from Tombow, and that worked great. I have the layout in front of me now, and it is still, those acrylic pieces are still on there super strong. So definitely no problems there. You can kind of decide which adhesive works better for you, but definitely once it's in a page protector, I've never had a problem with it. So I'm kind of looking over this spread, and I did want to add one more thing to the lower left-hand side of the spread. So in the shop new, we have these little tabs that are wood veneers, and they have the days of the months etched in the top of it. And so because these are my favorite moments from January, I just tucked it behind that star pattern paper, and I'm adding one of my absolute favorite, these puffy hearts, and I am trying so hard not to hoard them, but I love them so much. They are so adorable. So definitely, if there's anything that you are going to add to your box this month, I would add those puffy hearts because they are just my life right now. I love them. So I'm adding that to the spread, and then I'm just going to staple that down, and that will complete the spread today. So thanks so much for stopping by. I'll leave links to everything down below so you can stop by the Elle Studio store today and pick up the February kit along with the extras. Thanks so much for stopping by. Have a fabulous day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.